KJ, good looking, baby. Yeah.
7 days a week, I've been working 7 days a week. I've been.
What up, guys? This is KJ, the producer, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about NBA players that got a head start in the league before officially joining the league. But before we get into the video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Definitely trying to hit 200 subs by the end of February. If you could make that happen, I would greatly appreciate it. So let's get into the video. So the first person on our list that got a head start in the league before joining the NBA was 16-year-old Luka Doncic, playing for Real Madrid in an exhibition game against the Boston Celtics in September of 2015. He is listed as the youngest player to ever play in Real Madrid in the club's history. Now that says a lot. I can't even tell you what I was doing at 16. I mean, his stats weren't stellar, they weren't memorable, as he only had 1 point out of 2 shot attempts, both being from 3, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. But it's not about the stats, it's about the experience. And to do that at 16 is beyond impressive. Now we fast forward into 2016 preseason where Real Madrid faced off OKC. Now Luka's 17 around this time, and he comes off the bench and puts up 3 points on 1 for 5 shooting with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Again, just experience, but if I was to take a gamble, I would say this has a lot to do with how he's skyrocketing into the league now, averaging nearly a 30-point triple-double, ranked top 5 in scoring this season, starting in the All-Star in just your second season in the NBA. Now let's take it to the GOAT, Michael Jordan, selected 3rd overall in the legendary 1984 NBA draft by none other than the Chicago Bulls. Now when it comes to draft, the top 5 to top 10 picks, it's almost evident that they show up and attend to get their name called. But have you ever asked yourself why Michael Jordan never actually attended draft knowing he was a top 5 pick? Well, it's because he was actually practicing for Team USA.
What?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah, let me rewind that back a little bit. Back then, the Olympic basketball team was very different to what we know it as today. The Olympic basketball team was made up of only amateur players. In this case, college kids. And it wasn't until 1992 where FIBA began to allow professionals to play on Olympic teams. Then, they blessed us with the Dream Team. But before that kicked into play, we had a team full of college kids. In 1984, the US men's basketball roster was made up of guys like Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, Sam Perkins, and other noticeable college stars. So instead of being in New York on draft night, MJ was actually practicing with Team USA. The crazy thing about this is that the 2 players that were cut from Team USA roster were Charles Barkley and John Stockton. So during the summer of 1984, Team USA was coached by the legendary Bobby Knight. He was set out to showcase young and upcoming talent and to prove to everyone how good this team can be. And in the month of July, Team USA played Team NBA 8 times. These were exhibition games to help strengthen Team USA's chemistry as well as facing some tough competition. And Team NBA was made out of some serious competitors, all who were in their prime at the time. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Walton, Clyde Drexler, Danny Ainge, James Worthy, Kevin McHale, Michael Cooper, Larry Nance, Alex English, and the list goes on. So Team NBA was definitely a force to be reckoned with. And basically how it was set up, Team USA was supposed to have their welcome to the NBA moment, bully them a bit, win a few games, push them to the competitive level that they've never faced as college kids. Except that didn't happen. Team NBA lost every game. I mean, look at the final score. 96-90, 92-79, 96-85, 128-106. Team NBA was getting waxed. And in the second to last game of the exhibition tour, in July 21st, 1984, Team NBA had a hot start. But the one key difference out of everything at the end of the day is that Team USA had Michael Jordan.
In my opinion, Michael Jordan has the opportunity to become one of the all-time great basketball players in the history of the game. And I'm talking about in the class of the Weston Robertson, a Hall of Fame type player. He possesses so many skills physically, and he has all the skills as a basketball player, and he got the shooting, ball handling, movement with and without the ball.
That's right. 21-year-old Jordan, fresh out of North Carolina, was putting on moves that you can't even imagine, setting moves that Team NBA just couldn't defend. They've never seen anything like it before. And by no means is this an overstatement. In fact, after playing Michael that summer, Magic said that Michael is already one of the best players in the NBA, and he hadn't even put on an NBA jersey yet. And after coaching Jordan for just 3 months that summer, Coach Bobby Knight said that Michael Jordan is the best player he had ever seen. Here's the clip.
I mean, the kid is just an absolutely great kid. If I were going to pick the 3 or 4 best athletes I've ever seen play basketball, he'd be one of them. I think he's the best athlete I've ever seen play basketball, bar none. If I were going to pick people with the best ability I'd ever seen play the game, he'd be one of them. If I were going to pick the best competitors that I'd ever seen play, he'd be one of them. So in the categories of competitiveness, ability, skill, and then athletic ability, he's the best athlete, he's one of the best competitors, he's one of the most skilled players. And that, to me, makes him the best basketball player that I've ever seen play.
Now, this one isn't really about the NBA, but it is a head start into professional league, and this is basketball history, so why not? This young 16-year-old kid who turned out to be an NBA icon once had a head start into professional basketball at the age of 16. This man was Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt not only played and excelled in a professional basketball team, but he was so good that he actually had to change his name for a season just so he could stick with the team. And his name was George Marcus. And this man averaged 70 points a game. Now think about that. A 7-foot, 16-year-old Wilt Chamberlain dominated a professional league under a fake identity. And here's the evidence to prove it. Carl Robb and Jim Rosh uncovered one of the biggest secrets in NBA history. Carl, the mayor of a small community by the name of Richland Town in Pennsylvania, heard of a rumor that the town's community center may be home to one of the most mysterious and historic events in basketball. A local resident hinted at the fact that that small gym was the exact location where a young Wilt Chamberlain illegally played basketball at just 16 years old. Unfortunately, Carl couldn't find any significant evidence, though he did locate the brackets where the hoops used to hang, but knew it wasn't enough evidence to prove anything. But that all changed once he ran into a local resident named Jim Rosh, who has heard about his search and provided Carl with the first-hand account and evidence that would explain everything. Jim Rosh, who is now in his 80s, was none other than the scorekeeper for the professional team that was played in Richland Town, then known as the Quakertown Phase, in which Wilt played for. And 60 years later, Rosh still had pictures and news articles stemming all the way back to the mid-50s about Wilt. And Wilt was dominating. One score sheet in particular shows that Wilt once racked up 46 points and 18 rebounds in a game. In fact, Wilt led that pro team to a 36-1 record. And this was when Wilt was a junior in high school. So yeah, those are definitely the players that actually got a head start into the NBA. But honorable mentions goes to Grant Hill, Chris Webber, and Penny Hardaway, also known as the high schoolers that beat the Dream Team back in '92 in the most infamous scrimmage before joining. So I hope you guys liked the video, and as always, like and subscribe to the channel. I'm KJ the producer, and I'm out.